Hello everybody, my name is Necroxis, and today, you bet, we're going to react to the King Anduin Wrynn cinematic. This happens after the Anduin Wrynn quest chain. Say that 5 times fast. After the King Anduin Wrynn quest chain, that just, part 1 at least, was enabled yesterday on live. I actually was going to record the whole thing because I actually hadn't done the whole thing, but then I found out that they gated even that short quest chain, so we're just going to react to the cinematic instead. Now, from what I understand, the whole quest chain is about Anduin getting the compass that his father had at the beginning of Legion, in the Legion cinematic. You find it at the bottom of the sea, you bring it to him, he talks about his dad a little bit, and then that part of the quest ends, and then there's another part where he talks about, he goes throughout the city incognito and kind of listens to what everyone thinks about him. And while some people believe in him, they don't necessarily think he's ready to be king. And Genn and Valen eventually team up with him after he says he has to go to the Broken Shore and see where his dad died. So after that happens, then we get this cinematic. Now, I haven't seen the cinematic, I promise. I haven't seen really the whole quest chain. That's kind of just what I've gathered from a little bit of just quick research about it, because it's not all enabled yet on live. Or maybe it is. I gave up yesterday after I couldn't continue it. But what I'm hoping here for is getting to the Anduin in the Son of the Wolf comic. Because right now, this Anduin is not the Anduin of the Son of the Wolf. This Anduin on live thus far is kind of meek still. He's kind of unsure of himself still. He's not really sure how to be a leader or a king, let alone leading the entire alliance or whatever his role is after the High King had died. But I'm hoping we get to that moment, because right now Anduin does not have Charlemagne, which is Varian's sword that can break into 2. But in the comic he does. So I think he gets it in this cinematic, although I'm not sure. But anyway, let's take a look at the cinematic and see how it is. I'm excited for it. The Anduin stuff always gets me right in the feels, so here's hoping it does the same. So we're going to begin in 3, 2, 1, now.
Here. This is where his father fell.
The boy has never known the horrors of the Legion as we have.
No. I haven't.
Anduin.
How could you just leave?
I had to come here.
My boy, you don't need to see this.
Father. You never surrendered. Even here, at the very end. I cannot do this, Father. I can't be the hero you were. I can't be the king you were.
Anduin, your father's actions were indeed heroic. They were his challenge to us, his people, to never let fear prevail, even at the very gates of hell.
Too many feels,
What am I
man.
supposed to do now?
What a king must do.
it glowed golden with like the light. Varian's was always red. So what does that even mean? So yeah, this is everything that I wanted. The music is, God, that Anduin theme is so on point. The Anduin theme is so good. It might be like my favorite piece of music Warcraft has ever done, and the fact that they combine it with the Stormwind theme is just, man, that was really, really well done. So is he going to be a paladin now? Because that would be cool. I mean, in the comic, he kind of does what I would consider like a holy shock. He like holy shock hammers the Dreadlord. It kind of looks like that when he goes like bam, and it's like a hammer that shows up. Because the hammer motif is way more a theme of the paladins rather than the priests. I think the priest does have some kind of, I think smite at some points has been interpreted as like a hammer, but hammers are like way more of a paladin thing, and I'm really looking forward to where Anduin can go from here. I mean, even with the many, many, many problems of Legion, the Anduin stuff has always been mwah, like on point, fantastic, and this is no exception. Taron Gregory did it again, not only with the reflection of Varian's eyes and the sword, or like the ghosts, or like the images of Sylvanas and all the rangers on the ridge, or the sound play that they did when they had like the infernals screech for a second while it's getting killed by Varian in the background, and then Anduin seems to like have a vision of his dad. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a literal vision of his dad, or he's just like imagining him having a conversation with him in his head, but I need to like come back down from my emotions after that. But it was great. The cinematics are always fantastic and on point. Legion is at a point where the cinematics are the best they've ever been. And I will always give Legion credit for that, at least. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I thought it was great. It's where I wanted it to go. If I had to give like even any criticisms, I would have liked maybe like another 20 seconds or so at the very end for Anduin to like stand up and say something, or give more of an indication of what he's going to do, because he's not in the rest of 7.2. This is like his only thing. And for a character who was kind of packaged as like a main character of this expansion, he did nothing in 7.0 except at the very beginning. He did nothing at the end of 7.0. He did really nothing at the beginning of 7.2. He has this one quest chain and then is never seen again in 7.2. I think it'd be really interesting if he became a paladin, because I think we always... So, the thing is, going back to the beginning with Anduin, it was always at the beginning this idea that he was going to be a paladin, because we had Velen's vision of him like leading the army of the light, like in armor, like shining gold in armor at the head of an army, like fighting demons. And I think they've shifted it a little bit now to void stuff, because they introduced the Void Lords as a thing out of nowhere, as like the ultimate bad. But it was always Anduin, and once again, before the stupid Illidan stuff, it was always Anduin as like a stereotypical paladin. When I read Velen's vision, I never thought of him as like a priest. But then, like through the comics, and then through the books, particularly the Shattering, and then further on, then he took more of a priest path. And then you see in Mists of Pandaria, where he's using like mind control and other priest spells, and then you see again in where else does he do it? He does it again somewhere else where he uses like priest abilities. Every time he like shows up and does kind of magic, it's always priest magic. Like in the comics again, he does like the bubble, the holy power word shield on his dad in one of the short stories. Excuse me. But I think a big theme of Legion like a low-key big theme that doesn't seem like it's important, but it actually is. Now that I've done like the priest campaign and I've done some of the paladin campaign, and I've seen some of the rest of it, a big theme of it is priests and paladins and the process of becoming a paladin and becoming infused with the light to like physically fight with it. You see it happen with the Delis Moonfang, or I believe that's her name. She becomes a paladin follower, and she initially was a priest. She's like the first night elf paladin. And then you see it again with Lothraxion or Lotraxion or whatever his name is, the Dreadlord that's like filled with light. So, I mean, and once again, the lore of paladins is they were priests who became warriors. So, I mean, it's not like it's built into the lore for this thing to happen. So, I really hope Anduin becomes a paladin. I really, really enjoyed this cinematic. As you could tell, I almost started crying. I got there, the tears were in the eyes, and I managed to compose myself. But yeah, I would have liked maybe another 20 seconds at the end to see Anduin like stand up and say something, or maybe what even could have been cooler is we see Anduin like rising with Charlemagne in his hand, and Velen and Gen are still behind him, and then it cuts to like Valen's face, and then you see him like realize this is the vision, like this is his prophecy of Anduin coming true. Like this is the beginning of it happening. I think actually now that I say that, I think that would have been like the perfect ending to him. And it kind of like segues into Velen and Anduin in the future, and the Son of the Wolf comic where Anduin's old and Velen's still there, and they're like leading the armies together. Because, yeah. So, there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought about this fantastic cinematic in the comments below. But until then, stay awesome, and yeah, farewell.